Williams veers left, pulls up, looking for the lead, and he got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11.109. Now SGA probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
Welcome into another episode of Topic Thunder Podcast. We are on Twitter at OKC Topic Thunder. You can also find us on YouTube at OKC Topic Thunder. I'm your host today, Matt Tierney. Thunder Chats Dylan had some heater issues and some other things come up last minute, so he had to step away. So apologies for the YouTube viewers. We went live a little later than I expected, but we are here. And I'm joined today by, as always, my lovely co-host, Alex Roy. Alex, what's up?
What's up, man? Just a little bit sad, a little bit disappointed, but you know, we're gonna go ahead and let it all out. We're gonna, you know, let this be a catharsis to go ahead and kind of, you know, calm all our sorrows, and then we move on from here, because this game did not count.
It did not.
All.
Nope.
We are still on a 5-game winning streak. We're still 20-5. Still number one in the West. And so on to Thursday it is against Orlando. But yeah, it was a missed opportunity, I think.
It happened in Vegas, Alex, and you know what they say.
It did. Yeah, what happens there stays there. So keep that shit there.
Keep it there. We don't want to think about it after this episode. If you are listening live or to the VOD, we appreciate you, because we assume you are a Thunder fan, and if you are, you probably do not want to relive that game that happened in Vegas tonight. You know what, Alex? Before we get into it, I'll just say this: I was never really an NBA Cup fan. Now that we're done with it, I just want to say it's whatever. It's kind of silly. Who cares?
It's like when you break up with a hot girl. And
it's like whatever.
She was all right.
Yeah.
I mean, she farted at night sometimes. But
it's fine. You know,
she had quirks that I didn't like too much.
Yeah, you got to rationalize it somehow. So yeah, it was whatever. Win or lose. But on a more serious, a little less funny note, like I do think the Bucks probably needed this win more than the Thunder did. Just from a kind of a full season perspective, the Bucks have been really, really good the last really the last like month or so. I think they're now 13-3, and this really capitalized that stretch of like, hey, we're back. They started off so poorly, and Giannis is just playing at an MVP level now, and I think they're just this game and this at this stage kind of told the world, hey, we're not going anywhere. And I think the Thunder, if they lose that game, like we're still we're the top team in the West. We're the top defense still. None of our stats carry over for this anyway, so we're still going to be all top in those categories. I think defensively we would have been fine anyway, because we held them to 97 points. But I think, the Thunder did not need to win this game. It would have been nice. But I thought, like, between the two teams, the Bucks probably needed it more than the Thunder needed it.
I mean, look, so, Thunder lose 97-81.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this game that you could just say, hey, burn the tape.
Yep.
But there's also a lot that I think, like here's my thing. Like in this game, so Giannis had 26 points. He had a triple double.
26, 19, and 10, and also 2 steals and 3 blocks. Just an incredible game.
Monster game. As far as like, hey, whenever we're 10, 15 years down the line, and we're celebrating the 10th year of the NBA Cup, the 15th year of the NBA Cup, this performance is going to go down in the annals as one of the best probably in the NBA Cup lore. Let's just put it out there. That was an amazing performance. Well-deserved MVP. He played well in both games. He played amazingly in the semifinals games and in this game. Shea did his thing also as far as like in the semifinal game, and he struggled a little bit in this one. If the Thunder would have won, I'm pretty sure he would have been in line for the MVP, for the NBA Cup MVP. But here's the thing when it comes to playing the Bucks. So the Bucks have basically 3 weapons. They have Giannis, they have Dame, and then they have their 3-point shooting. Apparently, that's all. I didn't know they were such a good 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
You cannot allow all three of those things to beat you, and we did that tonight. And some of it is on us as far as defensively, and some of it is, hey, you just tip your cap to sometimes the other team makes shots, and that's kind of what happened tonight. Giannis was, here's the thing, Giannis' stat line looked great. I don't think he necessarily dominated like he's dominated other games before, like the 50 piece that he put in the finals. Like, it wasn't that type of domination. It was more of a mature Giannis, let the game come to me. I have a sharpshooter in Dame right next to me. I have shooters around, the perimeter, and I can go ahead and kind of just like drive to the basket, let the game come to me, and go ahead and spray this ball out to these different people, to these different guys, so that they can shoot the ball. And they did, and they shot 42%, I think, from 3, whereas the Thunder shot 15% from 3. And that it was the game, because in every other aspect of the game, I think we held our own. Rebounding battle, they won by about 10. But I mean, we turned them over how many times? 17 times, I think. Yeah, we turned them over 17 times. We only turned the ball over 10 times. We generated 10 steals. So if you're looking at that, at that steals number, it's 10-10 still. It doesn't count again. Again, it doesn't count this game. But I think from that, you can kind of look at some of those aspects and say burn the tape. But I also think that in how dominant Milwaukee was in a lot of ways, for us to keep it this close and like to have still kept it, like this was a game, if we're shooting 15% and they're shooting 42%, and they have Giannis and they have Dame doing what they do, this is a game for us to lose it by 30 or 35. Easily. Yeah. Any other team in the NBA with this kind of performance would have lost it by 30, 35. Our defense kept us in enough to where we still hypothetically had a chance, heading in later into the fourth quarter. But sometimes some deficits are just too much, and some deficits are too much whenever your offensive game is not there. And so, I hope it was just a bad night of shooting at the office, and they shake it off and they move on to Orlando and Miami, in the next couple of days, and continue doing what they've been doing. But it was just a rough night at the office,
I do think
hit shots.
Yeah, the Giannis thing. I think there were moments where I thought we defensively schemed it in a way where he didn't get in a position that he needed to, but I do think he was pretty consistently, like, I think when he got into drive full force down, I don't really think we ever had an answer for it, and that a lot is an answer that we all know is just, we need Chet. Like that's a rim protector that is definitely needed. Hardenstein did fine. I think like his physical, like he was still a big guy who could kind of stop him, but I don't really think there was ever a point where when Giannis got to the rim, I'd have to, what did he have? He had 4 turnovers. So yeah, there might've been a couple times I missed, but I didn't think when I was watching the game, there was consistently a point where when he got to the rim, he wasn't getting what he wanted, whether it was a free throw or he was kicking it out to somebody. And yeah, their shooting is really good. Like it's been really good for a while now. AJ Green is so insane. Like at this point, he's been hitting threes at a pretty high clip consistently that I'm convinced he's going to be a pretty decent role player for them. He had that 1-3 on Hardenstein that was just so difficult, and it was just he still made it. Like he's just a pure shooter, and that's exactly what the Bucks need around Giannis. Dame, obviously, is going to hit threes too. He was 5 of 10. Gary Trent's going to be a good shooter. He went hot there in sort of the late third, early fourth quarter. those moments are like, the Bucks have that offense, they have that ability to just fire threes. And yeah, the defense for the most part was pretty good though in containing that. But yeah, I think when you look back at it, there's two major things you need to just take away from this game. And one is on the defensive side. What are you going to do about a dominant power forward like Giannis? At least when Chet's not here, because I think once Chet's here, it's fine. I think it's fine, but we still have a long way to go before he's back. It's a couple months roughly. There's going to be some other dominant power forwards that are going to be showing up. I mean, the Magic unfortunately don't have Paolo right now, but I'm not thinking of any off the top of my head that are in the next
Kevin
couple
Durant.
of games. But yeah, I mean, there's ones you can think of. I was trying to think of like in the next couple of weeks here we're going to see. But there's going to be those situations again in the season. And what do you do to stop it? And the other question is offensively, what do you do when the Bucks defense, credit to them, are hounding Shea? They're not letting him really get comfortable. And also the 3-point shot is not hitting, because the 3-point shot is going to be streaky at times. It was like very, very bad today. Probably one of the worst we're going to see on the season. What is the alternative offensively if you don't have those two things? And I don't really have an answer. That's more of a rhetorical question, but I think you can look at just a couple of things right off of the bat. Was number one, like J-Dub was, I think, fine. Like 8 of 20 isn't what you would think of as a normal efficient night for him, but it was fine. I still would have liked a little more I don't want to aggressive. I mean, if you take 20 shots, I don't think you want to say more aggressive, but you just want to see a little bit more initiative from him, I guess. And then the other one that stuck out to me just off the rip was the Isaiah Joe's dribble handoff 3 aggressiveness needs to be there a little bit more. I think he hesitates a lot on that. And I was going to kind of mention this, I guess, for the pod, but I feel like Isaiah Hartenstein almost makes too good of passes to where Isaiah Joe doesn't really like process that he's got a wide open 3, because it's just so good of a pass. And he's got so much space that he sort of hesitates. And he did that a couple of times in the first half. And I was just like, dude, you are here to take those threes. You've got to shoot them. And he just didn't. And there was one where he like made a mid-range. It was fine. But it's more of just the principle of you got to hit those. So I don't
take those.
You got to take those. Yeah, definitely take those. Maybe hit them. But yeah, those are just my initial thoughts on the offensive end. Again, I don't really have like a perfect answer for it. At the end of the day, we're probably not going to think about this game too much more after this. But, those were the two things I thought of as just, definitely need to think about it moving forward. Some of those answers are going to be answered by the team getting healthier, and some of them might need a little more time in the gym, more just kind of running through some reps and some offensive schemes. But the Bucks, the credit to the Bucks, like defensively, they just disrupted us just enough. But at the same time, man, there were some shots that they should have gone in. Like they should have gone in. There were Shea baseline middies that go in every time, and they just never went in. There was that Isaiah Hartenstein lob or Caruso lob to Ihart at the end. It was just a bunny, and he just missed it. And it was like, these shots just normally go in. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, you can just throw your hands up and kind of, there's not much you can do. And you just have those games. So I don't know, beyond all of that spiel I just did, I don't really know what else I have for this game. I have a couple of smaller things that we can get to, but I mean, that's kind of my main takeaways is like, there's a couple of small things, but at the end of the day, you just you hit those shots normally, and they didn't. So
yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, this this game's a little bit closer, maybe even flipped on the other side if the Thunder hit even 20 to 25% of their shots. Like they were hitting 15%. If they start to get into 28, 29% range, it becomes a lot closer of a game. And it may open up even more of the floor to Shea, but every time Shea drove, there was 3 or 4 bodies looking at him and 3 or 4 bodies around the paint. And without that shot falling, the Bucks were just going to stay where they were at. That defense was not going to open up at all if you weren't going to punish them for playing in the paint so much.
Yeah.
And so it was just one of those games, man. It's one of those games that, shot variance throughout an 82, 83 game season. You're going to have nights where you don't shoot as well as you normally do. It just happened to be that this was on a night of the NBA Cup final. It's magnified. It's shown on national TV. It's the only thing that's on TV, that matters in sports today. There's no football today. There's no other basketball games. It's shown a lot brighter than it should have, as far as like it being a regular game versus this type of game. Again, it's not something that we need to look at and be like, oh my gosh, the season's going to start to go downhill from here. This was a game. The Bucks come in hot as hell, number one. Number two, the Bucks come in with their strength being, we don't have many weaknesses, but being our weaknesses. Whereas they are huge. This is a huge team.
Bad matchups, yeah.
Bad matchup. Giannis, there's a reason why Giannis has been a 2-time MVP and is in consideration for MVP this year. He is an amazing basketball player. He is a physical specimen that is very difficult to contain. And they got somebody around him that will punish you if you double and triple team him. And so this was just a bad matchup for us today. 7-game series, this goes probably 7 games. Like, it's one of those things where 7-game series, it goes 7 games. We make adjustments. We hit shots. It's a different series. It's a different game. But shout out to the Bucks. They did what they had to do. Good job. And the Thunder just go ahead and burn the tape and move on from here.
I think what's honestly the most frustrating, because the stats don't count, the game doesn't count. I think what's the most, not frustrating, maybe irritating, is that, like you said, it's the only sporting event on TV right now. It's in the NBA. Well, the Thunder are trying to become more relevant in the NBA because I think everyone on NBA Twitter saw the NBA Twitter account put out like a get to know SGA tweet as if he's not a top 5 player. Like there's clearly a disconnect between the Thunder community.
They're playing catch up. It's like
the national media community are like normal NBA watchers. Like, we are not on the same page of relevancy here. And it's frustrating because that the NBA hated that performance from the Thunder. You wanted like a shootout or like a close game. And the fact that we only scored 81 points and just had one of the worst shooting performances of the season, probably of the season for us, but maybe
of the entire league.
Of the entire league. I'd have to go back and check, but one of the worst in the entire league is it just sucks from a perspective of like you want this team to become more relevant and get more coverage. We did get more national TV games, but you wanted more relevancy, and you just know that that's not going to help because of how poorly we played offensively. So I think that's the most frustrating.
So T, we love you. Long time listener, long time
national
YouTuber.
Television too.
Yeah, lobbied for more coverage, fell flat on our face on national television. Yeah. Like, no, here's the problem. And here's the problem. No, here's the problem with, with Thunder fans and stuff like that. There are games where LeBron falls flat on his face. There are games where Steph Curry falls flat on his face, and nobody says anything about them. Nobody says, like, so we have one bad game on national TV, and the inferiority complex comes up and says, hey, you should probably not be on TV. You should probably stay in the background like you always have been. And it's not that case. Like, the Thunder have put their foot forward. They have forced their way onto the national spotlight. They've gotten 2 extra games from this. The NBA knows that they kind of probably should have put them on the Christmas slate. They're pushing this Wemby.
I think they regret that.
Yeah, they're pushing this Wemby agenda, and I get it. Wemby, he's an alien. Again, another physical specimen that's just like out of this world, and you want him to succeed. And I think as an NBA fan, you do want him to succeed because, having a player like that becomes great and becomes the competition. Great competition makes for great TV. Great TV makes for higher ratings, and so you want that, and I get it. Great. But I also think that the Thunder should have been on the Christmas slate, and I think the NBA now realizes, oh crap, this team is pretty good. This team has a superstar on their roster. They have a couple stars, future stars, potential stars on their roster, and we should have put them on there. And I think they're saying, hey, we can't put you on Christmas, but we could put you on January 16th.
There's a little compensation.
Then January 23rd, and then hopefully on down the line we can maybe get some more dates filled in.
Yeah.
But I think the NBA is trying their hardest to play catch up. The whole get to know you, like what the hell was that? Like this is a guy that's been, 2-time All-Star, 2-time first team All-NBA. Very much so. Top 5 MVP voting the last 2 years, could possibly win the MVP this year. And so, I think the NBA is kind of trying to catch up. And I think the Thunder have done a good job of like forcing their way onto the scene. But bad games happen. No, in a couple days, no one's going to remember this. We're going to move on to the rest of the regular season. We're going to move on to like Christmas matchups and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I just think, whether we performed well on this thing, like this, we got this game, we got the spotlight. It doesn't mean that you have to perform incredibly to have a, to get more games and things like that. Like,
yeah. And part of the good news is that they were on national TV again on Thursday against the Magic. So kind of get right back up. And whenever the Thunder have a piss poor game like they did, they usually bounce back. It is a quick turnaround flying from Vegas to Orlando in less than 48 hours. But I'm pretty confident that we're going to have a bounce back game. Magic are also so
injured,
devastatedly injured. Yeah, it's kind of very sad to see. I wanted them to be healthy for this game, but you play who you play. We're also injured too. But yeah, we have a back-to-back in Miami. I think Mark even commented on it one of these days in Vegas, how he was like the NBA would never schedule something like this because of the way it worked out. You've got this game in Vegas on Tuesday, and then you have Orlando Thursday, and then Miami Friday. The cities are close, but it's a back-to-back where you have to travel.
Yeah,
and it's 3 games in 4 nights on 2 different ends of the country. It's pretty tough.
It's essentially I would say probably like a 8-day road trip. You've been in Vegas for about 5 days.
We have not been. Yeah,
they haven't slept in their beds in a while.
The next home game is the 23rd. That'll be 13 days since they've played, since they've been in their beds at home. So yeah, it's pretty tough road stretch.
And I didn't see Chet on the bench. Was he not on the bench?
He was there. I saw him. I saw him there. Yeah, he stood up a couple times. We had when Hartenstein was hitting his floaters early. J. Will was doing like a bird next to Chet. That was when I saw him. He was floating.
That's a little bit worrying right there. Like J. Will should be ramping up, I guess, and I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I've not been saying anything on the podcast, but I have been silently worried as well. Because we're now, I think, like 2 weeks past his original date where he should have been given an update. I don't know what's happening there. We have heard nothing from the media, so we're just gonna hope for the best for J. Will for now, and hopefully he's back, because we could really use some more size in any way, shape, or form. Hartenstein's been great, but I think J. Will, at least defensively tonight, could have been a little helpful physically.
Very much so.
So anyway, yeah, let's Well, actually, you know what? I have one more thing, and then we'll be done. Shout out Isaiah Hartenstein. Just standing up for his guys. He's a ride or die type of
Yeah, that was
gentleman.
fun. That was fun.
Well, who was it?
Andre Jackson.
Andre Jackson. I don't think people realize this on Twitter because ESPN and everyone didn't put the context in the video. They just showed Hartenstein kind of getting in the face of Andre Jackson and kind of putting a finger in his face. But the reason he did that in the first place was because the play before,
Give him a kidney shot.
He Hartenstein set a pick on Andre Jackson. Shea went around it and shot over him. Andre Jackson just slapped him in the kidney. Like it was just so pointless. And then you could see Shea like buckled over, very hurt. And then as soon as the dead ball happened, he's like right in his face. And I love that. That was awesome. That was like, hey, I'm going to stand up for my superstar guy. I ride or die with my teammates. Like, don't do that shit. And like, that was awesome. I loved that. And in the moment, I thought it was going to be a nice energy boost because we were kind of on the ropes offensively at the start there. And I was like, maybe this is the turnaround. It wasn't, but it was still kind of a cool energy. It was like a potential energy shift that could have been something we point out now if we did win and be like, that was cool that happened. But it was a cool moment.
It felt very reminiscent of whenever like Steven Adams was with the Grizzlies and he used to stand up for Ja all the time.
Yeah.
It's very reminiscent of that. I mean, it was cool. It was cool. And, you know, they got a double tech on there. And then there was another energy play, you know, I believe in the second half, third quarter, where, you know, Lou dove for a ball. He had possession.
Yeah,
of it,
that was crazy.
And then Giannis jumped on him, and then Brook Lopez kind of jumped into the fray, and it was just like, and
that should have been a foul on
that
Giannis.
should have been a foul.
Should've been a foul.
And then Lou stood up and got in the ref's face, and you know, did he get called for one tech or two? No, I know he didn't get called for two techs.
I don't think Lou got.
They shot
called.
2 free throws.
I think Mark actually got called for the tech, which I was surprised Lou did not. You very rarely see him that upset at the refs, but I think Mark was the one that got the tech, and I mean that was an incorrect call in my humble opinion. But
I like seeing that because, I mean, look, if the refs aren't going to blow the whistle for the Thunder, and the Thunder have been one of these teams that doesn't necessarily complain, they're not the, you know, like the Luka baiters, they're not like the, you know, those types of players that are always baiting for a call. James Harden, you know, back in the past, he doesn't do that as much now, but back in the past, you know, everybody says that Shea is that person, but Shea is not that person. But we never complain. Like you never see our players go.
Yeah, very disciplined.
You know, very disciplined. Almost too nice is what I said. You know, to my kids here, and I was like, you know, that's good. I'm glad they're doing that because I think that's the next kind of progression, the next phase in this team as they grow older and as they get into the playoffs. And you're gonna have to sometimes fight for calls here and there. You're gonna sometimes have to take a couple technicals here and there just to get your point across. And I'm glad that Lou did that because that was kind of ridiculous. You know, they were just jumping on him. You know, they were it turned into a football play basically. You know, again, Hartenstein, you know, standing up for Shea and you know, seeing what he saw, and then the ref not seeing anything, and the ref not seeing, was that a slap by Andre Jackson? What was that, like a swing?
Yeah,
so you can swing at somebody, but as long as you don't connect, nothing happens to you.
Yeah, I think he was slapping his finger away. I posted it originally. I thought he was trying to slap him in the face and he just missed, but I think he was trying to slap his hand. But I think that was probably the reason he got the tech was because
well, I mean, just seeing how he shot today, his hand-eye coordination is shit.
It was not good. Yeah, he missed everything. By the way, T in the chat said Lou and Mark got one. I guess I misremembered that, but yeah, that was a weird slap by Andre Jackson. But yeah, those two plays really, you know, both were potential energy boosts, and you do need to. I don't know how to think about this anymore because we are so disciplined with not getting in the ref's ear and just like on to the next play, like don't complain about it. But in the back of my head, I'm like, maybe we do need to complain a little bit more. Maybe we do need to like sway or like get a little bit of
It's gamesmanship in
Yeah,
the
it's
NBA.
like it's all in the game. It's like complaining about fouls is kind of like part of the game now, where you're trying to sway the bias of the refs, even though you assume they're going to be consistent. They're
Unbiased.
not. They're human. They're gonna hear what you say and potentially factor that into their decision making. So you kind of want them to not just get text by these outbursts. You kind of want them to like be a little bit more throughout the game, just being like, "Hey, dude, he hit me," like kind of make those comments. And I don't know. I keep going back and forth on that because I do like how disciplined they are, but at the same time, I'm like, feels like they're not getting calls because they're being disciplined. And so I don't know.
It's like you're rewarding the bad behavior and not rewarding any good behavior type thing. Like,
yeah, it feels that way. I don't know if it is
gamesmanship. It is gamesmanship. And, people like Luka, people like Westbrook, people like, Harden back in the day, they knew how to talk to the refs throughout the game. And they knew how to kind of like bait that throughout the game and kind of like get those calls maybe later in the game if you're not getting them early, or maybe even get them early and keep on getting them throughout the game. Like, it was just, there's a reason why those players are consistently like shooting 15, 16, 17, 18 free throws, 19 free throws, in big games, is because they know how to do that. That's part of their game. And it's fine. For those of you that I'm not complaining. Those of you that want to go ahead and be like, Shea does the same thing, but Shea doesn't complain. Shea doesn't talk to the refs. He doesn't bait the refs. He gets the calls. Maybe he exaggerates a little bit on a drive here and there. That's part of the game also. But he doesn't bait the refs. He doesn't persuade the refs as the game goes along. So, I think that's the major difference between those types of players.
I think Dub has been doing that a little bit more. I've noticed he's very vocal in like off ball or like
it hasn't been working, but yeah,
it's not been working. Yeah, someone in the chat mentioned earlier about like how at least tonight Dub was not very aggressive at the rim, and I do wonder. Part of me is like, I think he's just kind of annoyed that he's not getting these calls. He just is like kind of sick of it. But that's maybe something that we'll figure out down the road. But anyway, yeah, that's all just to say that things just didn't go well in that department either. So we're done talking about it. Wipe our hands clean. Didn't count on the record book.
What game?
Perfect time to have the worst shooting splits of the season. Perfect time when it doesn't matter.
First rule of NBA Cup is there is no game in the NBA Cup.
It happened in Vegas. It will stay in Vegas, and we will never discuss it after this episode ever again. So let's go on to the games that do matter, which we already kind of talked about. But we have a back-to-back in Florida. The Magic are very down bad. No Paolo, no Franz. I think that's the main guys. I can't remember if anyone else is out. But the main guys, those two guys, both have been phenomenal this season. Very, very sad that they're not playing. Would have liked to at least see one of them. I think this is a win. I think the Thunder are going to be very pissed off. Maybe a little tired, but definitely pissed off. I think this is probably another low-scoring game because the Magic are still pretty decent defensively. But I think we pull this one out. And on Thursday, and then Friday is in Miami, who've been playing a little bit better, I think, at least the games I've been watching. Jimmy Butler's still on the trading block, so who knows if he shows up mentally in that game.
I think that's starting to heat up right there. That's starting to get ugly.
He's kind of orange hair, neon Jimmy Butler is playing very well right now, at least the games I've been watching, but mentally he might be checked out. Bam's been playing okay too. So that one I'm not as sure about. You never know with the Heat. They're a well-coached team. So I don't know. I'm probably I'm gonna say 1-1.
Yeah, I think so.
I think 1-1 is fair.
I think 1-1 is fair, and I wouldn't be surprised if the one loss was against the Magic. Like
we flip it. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think I would like to think that we come out against the Magic and almost guarantee that they're going to shoot 38% or better from three, and they're going to flip the script a little bit. But I also know that they're tired. They've been in Vegas and they haven't played too many games. Don't get me wrong, but they've been doing events. They've been doing this and that. Like they haven't just been sitting in a hotel. They haven't been chilling, the whole time they've been in Vegas. They've been at events. They've been doing things for their own brand. They've been doing things for the NBA brand. And so it has been busy probably. And so and they haven't slept in their own bed. Like just think about when you travel, you can go on vacation. It could be the most beautiful place in the world, but there's nothing like sleeping. Yeah, there's nothing like sleeping in your own bed. And so, they haven't been there in a while, and I could definitely see like a trap game type scenario with Orlando. That like you said, they still play good defense, and if the Thunder have a bad shooting night, things happen sometimes. So, I do think they could go 1-1. They could go 2-0.
Yeah.
We shall see.
I think that it reminds me a little bit of the Rockets game on that end of that road trip. It's probably going to be one of those. So I think we'll probably drop one, but that's to be expected. We'll be back. We'll be back home for a little bit after that. So
the competition goes down too.
Yeah, the Wizards next week is going to be.
Well, it goes down for a little bit, and then it picks back up in early January. So
yeah, the end of the month after those two games is Wizards, Pacers, Hornets, Grizzlies, Timberwolves. So those first three games look real nice. They look real nice. So we'll get to those later. Yeah, that's the podcast. That's all I got for today. I think we're gonna end a little bit shorter because that was kind of a poopy game.
That was. I mean, we missed an opportunity, I think. But I think the team grows from this. I think they learn from it.
For sure.
There's data points here as far as like how to handle X type player, like how to handle a power forward like this, how to handle a huge front line. Like T said in the chat, this could be this could be kind of a preview of how the Cleveland game go because they have two big men in the middle. They play two big men a lot, and who knows if Jay will be ready for those games? Like we're talking about January, early January, middle of January, and so who knows if he's available? So it could just be another situation where we're having J-Dub guard Jared Allen or something like that, and it presents issues, it presents difficulties, it presents challenges, and it could be a preview, but I don't know. But yeah, that was a good comparison.
Yeah. I think Cleveland is going to be tough. It's on national TV again. We cannot embarrass ourselves again. We gotta
shoot a little bit better.
I think we will. Cavs give up a ton of threes, so I'm actually not super worried about that. One thing I'll end on because I just noticed it in the chat from Carson. One bad game, move on. It is what it is. I've been seeing a lot of Thunder fans to go get Cam from the Nets, Cam Johnson. That is our friend Dylan's main guy too. I think maybe a Friday we'll start talking Thunder trades. Maybe we can do that on Friday as well. So a little bit of a preview of what we could potentially talk about then. So
once we get past the Christmas games, it's usually trade season after that till February.
It feels like it's kind of already picked up. I mean, obviously not as much for the Thunder, but
Dennis Schroeder,
we're underway. Schroeder's to the Warriors. Butler, I think. Cam's been one of the hot ones. There's some guys out there. We'll talk. Let's have a little conversation on Friday. So join us then on YouTube live, or if you're listening on podcasts, or if you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, etc. Be sure to, if you are listening on an audio platform, to leave us a 5-star review and a comment with it. I do read those periodically, so please keep sending them. We like compliments. We need compliments. Thank you. And then if you are on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We always appreciate that. Yeah. We are trying to get 1,000. I don't know what a goal is for when to hit 1,000, but I'm hoping by the end of the season would be a nice benchmark, but we'll see. I'm trying to think about like what we could do for 1,000 subs as like a goal, but in either case,
give a jersey out.
We could do that. Giveaways. I kind of also want to do like little merch giveaways like during the episode for like the live chat. I've had that as an idea. I'd have to, we'll have to figure that out as a group, but I want to get some incentives going. So be on the lookout for that. If you are watching on the YouTube, be sure to tune in live. We do go a little bit later than normal, or for some people, but if you can join live, please do. And then if you are on Twitter, we are there at OKC Topic Thunder, and you can find the pinned comment for our fan event March 22nd. 21st, excuse me, against the Hornets. Tickets are, I assume, still available. I have not checked in the last couple of days, but I think they still are. So check that out. Bring your friends, bring your family. Get to go on the court, take a half-court shot.
Great stocking stuffer for this time of year.
Great stocking stuffer. Yeah, get it. You can still get it before Christmas. I mean, it's electronic. You can get it Christmas Eve and still give it as a gift. So that is a great little present for somebody. And you get to potentially get a signed basketball from the team this season, who are on historic pace defensively. So an historic basketball, one might say, is the prize if you make the half-court shot. So we will also be doing things throughout that weekend as well. So it will be a fun time. That's it. That's all I got. So thank you all for tuning in. We will be back on Friday. I'm going to try to do a post-game podcast on Thursday for the Magic. So if you're on YouTube, be on the lookout for that. But we'll be back on Friday for the pod. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless. Hoop when you can.
And while you can.
And while you can, for that matter. And as always, Thunder up.